Well, I'm here with probably one of my favorite people here at Rise City Church. I know, no offense to all the rest of you, but Michael's been a part of the church almost since the beginning, 8 years now. And what God has done in his life and through his life has been such an inspiration to me. And as I was thinking about just sharing just an example from someone in our church who God has used that they didn't necessarily have a religious pedigree or, a seminary education, but you explored the claims of Jesus, you said yes to him, and then you began to say, how can I be used? And what God has done in and through your life, I'm just going to tell you, I love you and it's been an inspiration, and I want the people here at Rise City to hear about it. What were some of your religious beliefs, if you had any, prior to connecting at Rise City Church?
Sure. So before I met Rise, I was fairly agnostic. I could see the creation of the world, knew that God created life, but questioned whether or not he had intent and purpose for our lives. When we met Rise, I learned that the families that had moved here from the Midwest, where I was from, were going from a place that was cheap to now a place that was expensive in California, which didn't make any sense to me. It was intriguing, and it was nice to see that kind of courage and intent to come to California and start a church.
I don't know if we would have realized just how expensive it was. Sometimes there's naivety in there, but we're grateful to be here. We met at Shadow Hills Park. I didn't know if it was the ice cream truck that necessarily kind of drew you or the pizza that we had, but I remember us just striking up a friendship, having conversations. And you actually began at Hill Creek School. You were a greeter, so you were standing there at the front entrance and saying hi to people, still not saying I'm a Christian, but eventually you did make that decision. And I'm just curious, once you made that decision and we began talking about how God might want to use you, did you struggle at all with any doubts or insecurities that God would want to and be able to use you based upon having a time in your life where you didn't really seek God, or like you said, was borderline agnostic?
So I'm fairly introverted. I don't say a lot. I get stuck in my head quite often. And when I first met Rise, I just felt drawn there, and try not to get too focused on I'm meeting people, I'm not Christian, I'm hanging out in a church, and I'm just here. I just said, I'm gonna be here, and was actually there for 8-9 months before the Spirit started just working inside of me. Heard a couple good messages, even though the messages before that were great. This just had someone.
The messages he's referring to are from Pete.
Pete Goodman,
from
yes.
me.
From Pete.
So he was being gracious, but thanks for that.
Pete's my boy. So heard some great messages, Spirit working inside of me, and said, I'm gonna go and get baptized. And even at that moment, it wasn't an automatic, I'm a Christian, let me do everything. It was a whole year and a half later in my faith where I finally hit a wall where I either had to lean into God or walk away from that challenge, and I leaned in. So I was struggling with my job, and I kind of had an expectation that I deserved more, and kept trying for jobs, going to interviews, even those that were recommended by friends, and wasn't getting any of them, and tried to figure out why is this not happening? And hit a moment where I just said, okay, I'm just gonna accept whatever I have and quit focusing on what I think I deserve and what I should get. And that was October 2015, and everything changed. I found a men's group that following spring, met some great guys, a great leader in Dan Hoffmeister, great friends, and just...
You're getting a little emotional even talking about right now?
I am. 2016 was a great year, and really the heart of that was just, I feel like God giving me strength to just be who I was and not focus on my downfalls, my shortcomings.
And now, since 2016, you haven't just been involved in a men's group, but you lead a men's group, which is like one of the groups that everybody wants to be a part of. You've helped pioneer, along with some others, the men's ministry. Essentially, after you put your yes on the table and watch what God has done through your life, someone that you, by your own words, would be an introvert, someone that kind of would prefer maybe to be behind the scenes, but God's used you. What has that been like for you and for your faith?
I have very specific gifts that God has given me, and I try to just hold on to those. I've had strong and good godly men around me that have said, just be who you are. Pastor Matt Heinrichsey, Pastor Mike Crandall, my friend Jim Nichols. just be who you are. If we are truly the hands and feet of Jesus, then and there's healing needed in the world, then God has to use us. He's going to use our gifts. He's going to use our strengths. He'll also use the other side, the fear, the insecurity. He'll use all of it, every single bit of it. If you feel like you're not enough, God has made you enough. God will use every bit of you for the goodness of those around you, and just trust in that.
I'm proud of you, and I love getting a chance to just do this alongside of you.
Cool.
So, Michael Leewright, everybody, one of the best ordinary illiterate idiots there are, being used for the kingdom of God.